What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I did not want you guys to think that I forgot about you, so let's jump back into this frame here. Now, in this video, I'm actually going to work on the subframe. I've been thinking about this thing and deciding what direction I want to go in. So you guys obviously saw the billet swing arm in the last video, and I thought it would just make sense to work back to front. So guys, we're gonna drop a subframe. Now this is gonna be a multi-piece billet and slightly fabricated. So we're gonna have aluminum tubing with the billet components that are actually gonna get TIG welded together. So it's gonna be a pretty cool design. My goal here is to actually have a minimal amount of pieces when we go to do the final welding. So everything is gonna be as much CNC machining as possible in terms of all the fitments and all the pieces that intersect the tubing together. So I'm pretty excited to start drawing this. Now guys, the first step is obviously going to be getting a mounting location on the side of the frame tube. Now this is, I guess, what I'm calling the right side frame pivot area of the frame. Now you guys can see how I already went ahead and put a little bit of a slit in there. Now I'm going to actually machine that by using a slitting saw. So that would typically be a tough feature to machine, but when the part's actually laid on its side in the mill, I can easily cut that with a slitting saw. So you guys can see I already went ahead and I started sketching on that flat plane, which is inside that mounting area. And I'm just going to take the line tool in Fusion and I'm going to just kind of overlay it over the stock frame. I'm going to try to get an angle established. I want to try to, I guess, make a billet piece that would actually get welded to the end of the subframe. Now, if you guys look at all the modern dirt bike subframes, it's actually genius the way they do it. So it's going to be kind of similar to the way that stuff is made. So if you guys look that up, you'll actually see that all the brands pretty much have billet fittings that get welded to like an aluminum tube. Now, I'm going to take that a step above on this, and a lot of this subframe is going to be CNC machined. So right here, we've got the mount that's kind of roughed in. It's just a skinny version of what it's going to be. And you can see I'm actually pulling that around the frame. I did a little bit of a cutout so it kind of fits into a little bit of a pocket. Now right here, guys, you can see I'm adding the rear brake master cylinder mount. Now we're going to have this tab coming off the bottom. And these are going to be a 6mm thread, so it's not a super large bracket, but I am going to beef it up a little bit larger in diameter than what the steel piece would have been. Aluminum is very strong, but you do want to actually oversize it a little bit versus what the size would be if it was a steel part. So you're going to notice a lot of the fittings are going to actually appear to be oversized, and that's just for strength. And of course, you really got to think about how you're going to build all your parts. Now, it's real easy to make them weak. It's real easy to actually overbuild them. So there's a lot of thought process that goes into all this stuff. You're going to actually see through this video, I'm going to be changing the designs up quite a bit. And of course, once we do final machining and final testing, there's going to be more and more tweaks that happen with these parts. All right, so right here, instead of doing bent subframe tubes, I'm actually going to angle the fittings. So I'm going to have a little bit of a standoff that comes off the fitting, and the tube is actually going to slip over it. And I'm going to actually put that part at an angle because I don't want to be bending any of these tubes. I want to keep them as strong as possible. So the less bends we do, the stronger it's going to be. And I'm actually planning on offering round tube and square tube. So I always, believe it or not, I actually like the look of the square tubing. So it's actually a little bit nicer to set up with the fixtures and all that. And yeah, I'm excited to experiment with both styles. So you guys are going to see me rocking some square tubing in these designs. All right here, guys, you can see Honda Sierra 450 subframe. This is a picture I found on eBay. Kind of gives you an idea of what I'm going for with the aluminum fittings that get welded onto some square tubing. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for. I'm more or less inspired by that, and the reason I am is because a lot of what I do is the dirt bike stuff. So you guys have seen what we've done over the last handful of years with all the TRX subframes, and I've really been having my hands on all the brand new dirt bikes and all the new technology that goes into this industry. So we're gonna go with that. All right, guys, so I'm still working on this bracket. Now, I spent way too much time on it, but it's honestly the foundation of the subframe. It's where it mounts to the frame itself. It's where all the strength is actually going to be. So yeah, I'm doing some final tweaks on it. This is stuff I could have probably done at the end, but I just wanted to get a mental visual of the design. Sometimes I get stuck and I'll just start tweaking something until I'm happy with how it looks. And once I feel happy with it, I kind of just move on. I also do like to bounce around once in a while. So if I start getting, I guess, stumped on what direction I want to go in, or I just have to maybe think about it for a couple hours, I will sometimes take a break from this and go back to it. So this has been a combination of, I'd say, about a week of just on and off the computer as I had extra spare time. And I also want to say to you guys, I hope you guys had a happy 4th. We took the day off and had some fun, and yeah, much needed rest and recovery for sure. But I did spend some time on that day late at night. I was on this computer doodling on this bracket here, so it's pretty fun to do. And like I said, sometimes you just gotta step away from the computer and clear your head and get back to it when you get the idea. So like I was saying earlier, we have a little bit of a standoff going on this bracket. Now, when you draw in Fusion, sometimes stuff isn't at the correct angle. You're not going to really nail it right away, so it's really trial and error. So more or less, I set, I believe, a 5-degree angle. I ended up tweaking it a couple of times just to get the tube where I wanted it. So I basically just set the angle and then started drawing a tube and dragged it over the OEM frame. And you guys are going to see that coming up here in a second. So there's the start of a tube. Now I just need to actually line the frame up and see how it looks. Yeah, this was after probably the 3rd or 4th try, so I finally got it. And it's cool because this image, as you guys are going to see, is going to get mirrored over, or I should say this part is going to get mirrored over to the other side. Now we've got a lot of components and bodies in this drawing. There's also going on almost 200 sketches now, which is pretty freaking wild. But yeah, it's a lot of work. So there's a lot of getting stuff to line up. So right there, I'm just doing a mirror of both sides. It's going to give us a pretty cool visual to actually see what it's going to look like. And it's always nice when you're drawing knowing that you are going to get it lined up on the opposite side, and you only got to do the work once and then do some final tweaks. So instead of redrawing that bracket, I actually just mirrored the lower bracket. Now we're going to remove the brake master cylinder mounts off of that bracket because obviously there isn't one on that side. There's only one on the right side, not on the left. So I'm more or less just cleaning that up, removing a couple of those features, and now that's a separate body on that side that's ready to go. Now I decided to actually adjust the frame. I wanted to thicken that back up, and I'm actually going to thread it. Originally I was going to put a nut on there, but I think the threads are going to be just fine. We do a form tap. Our threads are super strong with the way we actually machine them. I haven't ever had any issues with threads pulling on our aluminum parts. We're also going to use high quality hardware, and it's going to be super strong. So right here, I'm staring at this frame, and keep in mind I already have everything aligned on the rest of this drawing, and yeah, it's bent, guys. So the stock subframe is actually bent over, I believe, about 200. It's not good, but I'm actually gonna just get some hole locations, and again, this stuff's all gonna be final measured in real life. This scan, I believe, was a 50,000 resolution. I actually left it kind of rough on purpose because if this thing was any larger of a file, I probably would be having issues with my computer. I'm actually doing this on a small Apple laptop, just kind of chilling in my chair at home at night, and it works. It works, guys. It lets me do this at night and do it in my free time without being on the shop computer. So again, subframe's bent. I can see it. It's pretty awful, kind of funny, but it's okay. We're gonna make it work. So as I'm drawing this, it's actually gonna look crooked, but just keep in mind we're drawing everything straight and off center in the CAD software, and we actually do have a bent subframe in real life. So I'm more or less gonna move that all around so it's perfectly centered to the drawing. So now we're working on the rear plate on the subframe. So I'm starting out, I believe, with a 3/4 inch piece, and yeah, we're gonna tweak it from there. So it doesn't look like much yet. I think I spent almost a couple hours just on that one piece, which was pretty wild, and I'm probably not done. So you're gonna see me do a bunch of tweaks. Even at the end of this video, I mean, you guys might see how this comes out in this video, and you know, you might see the next video and go, oh crap, he made a bunch of changes. And I'll try to, I guess, remember to document some of that stuff if I do tweak anything significant. If it's just small stuff like finishing edges and small little features, I'm probably not going to video all that stuff. I will bore you guys to death for hours just talking about all that fun stuff. But again, the goal here is going to be to have removable brackets. So the airbox tab that you see, that's not actually going to be added on yet in this video, but I will have a removable bracket at the end so that we can do some custom airboxes. So everything from maybe an airbox for no link or an airbox for OEM. I believe this chassis is probably going to end up as a no link. I had a handful of Lone Star, JRD, and a couple others in the past that you know, had the no link setup. It worked really well. I also built one a few years ago for a good customer of mine named Don. He had the roll design quad that actually, believe it or not, made our YouTube channel take off. That was one of the Project 250R series that we did. That was a super fun build. He had the stock upper bracket for the shock mount going down to the no-link swing arm, so the shock was a little bit shorter than if the frame would have actually been modified. So the goal here is going to actually be to bring the shock mount up and back and then run hopefully an 18.5-inch shock. So my goal is to actually be about a 17.5 to an 18.5-inch no-link rear shock on this custom frame. So, and again, it's unlimited. So if we want to do a stock linkage, we can, but I honestly don't see the point because I've always had them. I've always tried different ones. I mean, we've ran the Sierra 500 link to the no link to, you know, all the modern 450 quads, and yeah, I'm definitely gonna try to go no link on this build. So yeah, guys, here I am. I'm kind of just staring at this thing, and I'm hitting the old save button because it means I'm getting happy if I start hitting save. Little tip in Fusion: don't trust it. Hit that save button as much as you can. If you have a crash on your computer, something freezes up, you might lose your work. Ask me how I know. I've had it happen a handful of times. I've lost hours and hours of work by not hitting the save button quick enough. Even with a backup file, it doesn't always work. You might go back to it and you might have half the work done. Same thing goes for drawing, graphics kits, and all that stuff. Any kind of software, this stuff is kind of glitchy. I have a CAD computer at work. It's okay. Again, this is being done on an Apple computer. The reason I do that is because I'm actually screen recording on my Apple computer, and I'm actually just transferring the video footage over to my phone and just editing these videos and doing a voiceover. It's simple, it's easy. You know, more or less, I don't have a team of people doing any of these videos. It's 100% done by me. My wife does video me from time to time, which is cool. But yeah, guys, a lot of this stuff is just all done in my free time because I love to do it. We don't really make anything off these videos, but I definitely just enjoy showing you guys the process, showing you guys what we do, and not trying to be a cool YouTuber over here, just having fun drawing in CAD and trying to find some like-minded individuals on our channel that actually do enjoy watching this stuff. It's that's what's fun for me. So yeah, it's wild. But all right, let's get back to talking about what we're drawing here, because I will keep rambling on and on. So I took the bottom bracket that was connected to the frame. I basically just flipped it and reversed it. Now that gave me the opposite angle. So we've got two straight angles now. And I'm basically going to attach that to the back of the frame. So I'm actually going to do this by a series of bodies. Now we're not going to actually put anything together yet. We're just going to have a series of pieces and bodies that are actually more or less intersecting themselves. And right now they're not intersecting, but you will see me in the future on this video where I actually pull them to where they will intersect, and then it lets you actually technically weld them together in the program. So more or less, we're going to end up with like 3 or 4 pieces, and then that whole back section is going to get welded together, which is pretty cool. And that's how I like to do it, because if I need to make a tweak, it doesn't make sense to try to keep drawing on that part. I like to just draw multiple bodies and make them all solid, and in the end, once I'm happy, because there's just so much tweaking that goes on. So right here, I'm just turning some bodies off so I can actually see what I'm doing. We're going to start getting those top tubes done. So those ones, they gave me a little bit of a hard time. It wasn't too bad, but at the end of the day, it's no different than the bottom ones. I just had to kind of rethink how I was going to do it and more or less figure it out on the fly. So same deal, guys. We're going to have that extra body on there. You can see how it's just free floating. So that lets me get it where I want it. and it's a little bit easier to draw that way. So same exact deal. We're going to have a standoff that comes off. It's going to slip inside the aluminum tube. We're going to definitely leave gaps and all that stuff when we go to final weld it, so the weld has good penetration and will actually hit the base material and actually lock into the tube. But yeah, not bad at all. Now, it's kind of funny, I guess, the response you guys have been giving me. So I've actually had a ton of positive feedback. I've had guys actually email and kind of say, hey, I do this kind of stuff too, and that's been pretty cool. Definitely love hearing from you guys. So if you want to email me directly, you can. If I don't reply, don't get offended. I will reply eventually. We just get hundreds and hundreds of emails every day. It's unreal. But just know that I do read every comment. I do check out all the emails. I might just not get to them right away. I also have staff that answers the emails too, and they're probably not going to reply if somebody's talking about CAD drawings, but they do definitely let me know. And yeah, it's pretty cool to see the response we've been getting. I've also had a lot of guys ask me if we're going to be selling these frames. I mean, it's a possibility for sure. Right now, guys, just keep in mind this is just a dream frame that I'm drawing up. I definitely am going to be producing it for sure. Would I love to make a pile of them? Absolutely. I don't necessarily want to bury myself with the pre-order game. We've done that in the past with the TRX stuff. It's not fun having a 6 month to a year lead time. And like I said in a couple videos ago, you know, it's not uncommon for frames to take a handful of years from some suppliers. And there's still guys that make them today and they're a little bit quicker, but if you want a legit one, it's going to take time. It's unreal. It's unreal the amount of work that goes into these. So that's why I'm kind of stepping up and just trying to challenge myself and I guess just try something different. You know, I've studied the way a lot of these big name manufacturers are making their bikes. I've worked on a lot of the new stuff, and it's just inspired the heck out of me to bring this to the ATV industry. So yeah, I guess to answer that question, I would love to produce these. To be real with you guys, I'm super busy with the big wheel stuff right now, but I've always been an ATV guy. If you guys go back to some of my oldest videos on this channel, I mean, you're gonna see that, you know, I'm a quad guy. You know, I grew up riding three-wheelers, quads, transitioned to dirt bikes. I spent hours of my life on all of them, but most of my riding was done on ATVs, and hours and hours on a 250R. I pretty much learned how to ride motocross on a 250R, and yeah, it's a love of mine. It's something I think about. If I'm having a bad day, I think back to riding 250R. I think back to the old days of ripping the motocross track back in New York. Yeah, it's crazy how much times have changed and the world has changed and things are just different now. So doing this and getting back into the quad products and just kind of doing, I guess, what inspired me when I was young to get into manufacturing, you know, that might actually have a little bit of fulfillment for me. Yeah, and again, just seeing you guys get excited about it's pretty exciting. I don't know if a lot of you guys do know, I might have mentioned it. I originally did own rcentral.net, which turned into TRX250R.net. Now, I started that website when I was in my teenage years, and then I sold it when my business started to take off. So I believe when I was around like 21, I sold the website. Now, guys, I'm 37 now, so that was many years ago. But again, lots of cool guys on there that I met in the 250R industry. It's something I love, you know, and hopefully we can take all the skill, all the equipment, and just all the knowledge we've gained in the last like 10 years, just doing this manufacturing stuff, and hopefully we can put it into the quad industry now and bring out some cool products and just have some fun with it. Because let's be real, it's been kind of boring. Everything's been kind of repetitive. It's been the same. I don't really see it, I guess, going anywhere. Quads have kind of died off, and it kind of breaks my heart to see nobody making quads. I mean, I love the YFZ 450R. It's cool that they make it, but there's nothing like a 250R. There's nothing like a hybrid 250R build. I mean, these things are just unfreaking believable. Yeah, coming up in the future, we do have a electric 250R quad build that's going to be coming. So that's going to be TRX250R or TRX450R chassis based with a KTM freeride motor. That's going to be pretty damn cool. The only problem is they're not like super fast, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we could do, you know, like the Stark, like Walsh is doing, which I'm super pumped to see he's doing that. I've actually got a handful of big wheel customers that want me to do some big wheel kits on those. So I think that will be pretty cool. But as much as I'd love to build an 80 horsepower electric quad, I think once I do the KTM, that might just be it. And we're going to focus on the 250R stuff. My ultimate goal is to, like I said, bring back the 250R stuff, do as much as I can to support that part of the industry. I think it deserves to keep going as many years as it can. I don't want to see quads go away. I think they're actually going to come back. I have that weird kind of sense about me where I look at an industry and I can kind of feel it because I've been in and out of it so many times and I've just kind of seen it, you know. I mean, guys, I started my shop back in 2006. I was 18 years old. I worked at a Harley dealership out of high school before that, and I can't tell you the waves I've seen in this industry of ups and downs and hard times and easy times. And you know, we're kind of going through a winter right now, in my opinion, with just the way the economy is and everything. And you know, we might be busy, but with inflation, it's, you know, you kind of scratch your head a lot and kind of go, why am I doing this? You know, so if I'm gonna bust my ass every day and you know, just kind of deal with all the stresses of a business, I'm gonna better be making parts that actually, like, you know, speak to my soul. And I think you guys are gonna see a different side of me coming out with the quad stuff, just because it's something that I grew up doing. It's something that's been on my mind. I'm hoping that I can again just kind of nudge it forward a little bit with some new ideas. Not trying to ruffle any feathers with anybody that's been building frames or parts or any of that. Again, I'm busy with all the other stuff that we do, but this is something I just genuinely enjoy. So yeah, I'm gonna use every ounce of my power to build you guys some badass parts, and whether we produce them production or not, whether guys want to order them or not, it's cool. I'm just gonna have fun with all this stuff and just keep going. So yeah, all right guys, so storytelling's over for a minute. Let's jump back into this frame here. So yeah, if you've been paying attention, you can see how much work I've been putting on this rear section. I'm right down to doing the exhaust threads right now. This will be an 8mm thread, and I'm doing a little bit of a standoff for that. That's where the exhaust silencer is going to be mounting to the subframe. I do got to do the lower one still, but we're going to worry about that in another video. I might do a replaceable clamp-on billet style one. I'm not sure yet. I like having stuff be replaceable. I think it looks cool too. So yeah, you're going to notice I squared off the back of the frame from the original design. I've just been kind of making tweaks as I go, and we're going to do some standoffs on each side here. I believe we come out about 200 or 1/4 inch. I can't remember. You can maybe see what was on this video here. Keep in mind, I did this, I think it was, yeah, it looks like 1/4 inch. I did this about yesterday, and I finished up this video today. Yeah, so guys, that piece right there that's it. You know, that's what we're going to machine. So you can see I'm doing some finish. I call it finish work. Doing some corner rounding and some blending and just cleaning it up. It kind of acts like where a weld would be in a way. It's just a nice little fillet. Got some nice fillets underneath. So now it's time to get those front brackets done. So we've got the back looking pretty good. I'm excited about it. Sometimes in Fusion it's easier just to drag your body over and just do a cut operation. So I know the dimensions there, and I'm going to take an additional 200, so I'm simply just going to add 200 to the value of it and get that measurement out of there. When I say get it out of there, basically cut it out. I'm just double checking my math. Looks like I was right. So yeah, we've got a nice billet back piece. So we've got the two lower brackets, the two tubes, the back piece, the two upper tubes, and the two front pieces. I mean, that's really not a lot. If we were to fabricate this, there probably would be 20 or 30 pieces actually welded together. They need to actually be adding gussets in and all that stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool to, I guess, simplify it as much as possible. Now, I could have made this subframe a bolt together design, but it's honestly for production or just just time, I mean, it's way better to just weld the pieces together. And again, we're going off what the professionals do. I'm talking the big name companies that produce thousands and thousands of motorcycles every year, and we're taking what they do, guys, and we're doing it small scale and super niche, and that's the 250R market. So again, I'm just getting a bracket drawn up for the front. We've got to figure out our angle. You can see that's actually going the wrong direction right now, so we're going to flip that, re-angle it, and then we're going to draw a sketch off the front of that face. So right here you can see I'm doing some tweaking. So we're at 94 degrees. We need to tweak that about 4 degrees to get it completely square with the frame bracket. I think I hit the save button. Nope, it was just loading. All right, so basically I drew a sketch and we're gonna draw this tube out. We're basically gonna put a bung on the frame, which is just gonna be a circle with a hole in it. That's gonna be the threaded portion of the subframe. So I'm gonna draw that on the inside of that plane. And again, we're just gonna make another body. We're not gonna overthink this and get too fancy here. So more or less, you make another body, you get it where you want it, and we're going to intersect it with that other tube, and then we're going to actually technically weld them together in the program, and that's going to become one piece once I'm happy with it. Now I like to actually pull the other part back up, and as I'm press pulling, I just click the plane that I'm trying to go to instead of guessing, and it'll actually just line it right up. You can see how I just click that, and there it is. So I'm going to pull that back about halfway, roughly, a little bit past halfway. And yeah, it don't look good, but we're gonna fix that. It's too easy to overthink this drawing stuff. There's probably better ways to do it than I'm ever gonna show you. I'm self-taught. I go generally pretty quick, I feel, but I also have this stuff in my head. So a lot of this is 100% just going off a mesh, coming out of my head, and designing on the fly. And like I said, if you gotta take a break and think about it, it is what it is. But once I see something coming together, I almost just get an adrenaline rush, to be real. I see it like coming together and I get excited, and I actually can't get off the computer at that point. That's when I fry my brain cells all night, just sitting there, staring at the screen, and you tell yourself like, hey, you got to get your ass to bed so you can be useful in the morning. But again, this drawing stuff is slightly addicting when you can draw whatever the heck you want. So pretty fun. Now, I could have brought the frame mounting tab up, which would be the bracket on the side, instead of having that kind of swoop down, but I kind of like the way it looks. Yeah, I like it, so we're gonna roll with it. And if I tweak it, that's okay. But for right now, I'm happy with how this thing's looking. So more or less, my next step, guys, is gonna be mirroring this bracket over to the other side. There it is. And we're gonna spin this bad boy around, and I'll probably spin this thing a few hundred times and just keep staring at it and see if I'm happy with it. It's really not looking too bad. Now, those front seat brackets, God, those things are awful. They always bend. I usually weld a rod in there. I've got to come up with a cool solution, because the way I want to do the no-link setup, it's actually going to be kind of raised up in the center. So here's my thought. Just dealing with these quads for years, and always buying them with bent seat brackets in the front, I'm thinking we make them bolt-on. So I think they're going to be bolt-on on each side. So those front fittings are going to have like a 6mm thread on them, and we're going to actually have those pieces be replaceable, because there's nothing worse than having bent seat brackets on your frame. The rubber grommets, they always get a little bit chewed up, so I might even try to come up with maybe a new plate. If you guys are a 250R guy, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. So there's a plate on the bottom of the seat that actually gets bolted to the seat, holds the plastic, actually gets slipped onto those two bent brackets that I was just showing you guys, and there's two rubber bushings. Now, what happens is that plate gets mangled, and then once that's mangled, your seat's kind of flopping around on top of the gas tank, and then your tabs usually bend. So not fun, but we're gonna try to come up with solutions for all this stuff, and again, just bring this quad into 2024 standards, because it's just not there. But yeah, I'm super pumped with this subframe. It's looking really cool. I think it was harder to draw than the rest of it, which is kind of funny. The swing arm actually sucked really bad to draw too, but I generally sometimes pick the hardest crap at first and just go for it, because why not? Believe it or not, that A arm was easier to draw than the subframe, so kind of funny. But yeah, guys, there it is. I'm pumped on it. Starting to lose my voice because I've been talking this whole time. I don't have a drink on me, which is kind of funny. I'm sitting in our little office at home where it's quiet, so you guys don't hear my dogs running around in the background. But yeah, so there's those bent brackets. They're just bent. That subframe's bent. Nothing's really straight on this. It's just giving me a really good reference point to number one, draw off of. Number two, I can take my good frame and measure it in real life, and if I have to scan parts of that in, I will. But this thing it's looking pretty damn dialed, and I'm pumped on it. So anyway, guys, if you made it all the way to the end, I appreciate you watching. Hopefully you learned something. Again, the comments, the emails, I appreciate you guys. I love this stuff, and I'm excited to keep bringing some cool designs to this 250R niche industry, and can't wait to build one of these and ride it. So stay tuned for the next video. We're going to work on the other sections of the frame. If you have any ideas, put them in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to us. Like this video. It really does help. We'll see you guys in the next one.